What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today in the review box we have the 1967 Lotus 49 Formula 1 car from Hot Wheels. This is a new for 2024 casting, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at it and see if it is worth adding to your collections. So let's get things started with our casting as usual. Taking a quick look at but there's not a whole lot to take a look at because this is a small car, being a old school race car and all. We can see though that our proportions are pretty spot on. Like, there's really not a lot to complain about. I mean, they're not going to be perfect since they are mainline, but they're pretty close. Close enough for me at least. Go ahead and pop the real life car up in the top corner there for you to kind of compare and contrast. And then let's get into the casting itself. Again, it's small, so there's really not a ton to talk about here. But we do get the nice kind of shape replicated, looking very good. Our driver in the seat here is, I believe, a piece of the base that pokes through. Speaking of the base, this is metal. So this is a mainline, but it is metal on metal, which is always cool to see. Again, with the metal parts just being so small, I feel like it was a good move to do that, because if this had been plastic, this thing would have weighed nothing. That being said, though, we do get a big plastic engine back here, but it does look good. Like, it's not crazy detailed or anything like that, but as far as like the actual casted engine bits, it looks good. It's not painted, but it looks good. One thing that we should make note of, though, is that this is not true 1/64 scale. Especially when I get into the size comparisons, you will be able to tell it is big, but it still is good overall. I don't think that it's distractingly large. For the paint and deco, you can see we do have the nice Team Lotus color scheme going on here, which is good. It is realistic. It's fairly accurate as far as I know. Nothing too crazy, not a lot of sponsors or anything like that, but again, about what you would expect to see, and overall looks really good. We got the number 5 on this release, the initial release, and then we have an almost identical release that has come out, and it has number 4 on it, so 5 and 4. Both of them look very good. Moving into our details, so this is going to be a little bit different than normal since we don't really have headlights or taillights or anything to talk about. What we do have, though, is the engine that we talked about earlier. Very nice. You kind of got the exhaust as a piece of the base here, which kind of trail out there underneath. Looking really cool, actually. Up front, though, we do get a Lotus logo, and we do get a Ford logo underneath the Lotus lettering there. So that is pretty cool. And then we do have these nice wheels. These are the same wheels that the Alfa Romeo GTV6 used last year in, what was it, Q case of 2023, something like that. Overall, though, that these look really good on this car. I think this was probably the best choice of wheels for the mainline release. And overall, for what little detailing we really can have, it does look good. The one thing I would say is this yellow window, while it does kind of match the rest of the car really nicely, I would prefer that to have been clear. Moving into our roll test, this being a mainline model, it should be no surprise that it rolls, and it rolls extremely nicely. I put this one on the scale, and it comes out to be 31 grams exactly. So that metal on metal really does add the extra weight to make this about average weight for a mainline, despite being a fairly small car in casting. For our pros, the biggest pro is that this is going to be the cheapest way to get a Lotus 49 into your collection. Personally, this is actually the only one I know of in the 1/64th-ish scale space. I'm sure Kyosho or someone has done one at some point, though. But this is definitely going to be the cheapest way to get one. And that being said, it is also going to be like a great option. Again, not true 1/64th, but still fantastic. Like, even the little asymmetrical piece over here is casted in. I just think that it was a really good representation and really cool. Good job by Hot Wheels here. For cons, though, there is one that I should mention, and I think I have already mentioned it several times, and that it is not truly 1/64th scale. Again, I don't think Hot Wheels really should have done it in 1/64 scale. I think that they sized it about right for their brand and everything. But if you are a hardcore 1/64 scale collector, I can see that being a little bit of a turnoff for you, even though it does still blend in pretty well with your collection. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with a couple other Lotus models that you might own, with the Lotus 78 from Mini GT and the Lotus Avaya from Hot Wheels. And here we have it with a couple other random race cars that you might have in your collection, with the Hawk 3 Indy car from Johnny Lightning, and the Formula E Gen 2 car from Majorette. So it is now time to give my overall scores. And the hype level for this one, I'm going to put it at an 8.8. I really thought the hype level was like extremely high for this one. But really, I did not end up seeing a ton of excitement for it. You know, except for like the hardcore racing fans and the Lotus fans and the F1 fans. That wasn't terribly hard to find either. Execution, though, I'm going to give it all the way to a 9.9 out of 10. The scaling is really the only thing I would have changed. And honestly, I didn't expect it to have a metal base, so it was a little bit above what I was expecting. Community input, I gave this one to the Council of Diecast, and here are their scores. This is going to average out to be a 9.5 exactly. So when we take these three scores of these categories and we average them up, we are going to end up with a 9.4 out of 10 for the Lotus 49. Personally, I think that this is an absolutely fantastic release, and casting for that matter. Hot Wheels, seriously, they hit a home run with this, and yeah, I know I'm a Lotus fanboy, so it's easy for me to say that, but when I say I'm a Lotus fanboy, I'm more of a big fan of their street legal cars, especially the more modern street legal cars, and while I do think that their old school race cars are cool, they're just not my favorite aspect of Lotus. So for Hot Wheels to have really just absolutely nailed this, and for me to be as in love with this casting as I am, it really speaks to how good Hot Wheels really did here. Again, absolutely nothing I would really change with this release. I think it is perfect. That metal on metal is really, really nice. If the not true 1/64 scale thing does bother you, I can definitely see that. Again, the yellow windshield is also a thing I'm not exactly in love with, but it does look good. Overall, though, as a whole, this is one that I would absolutely not miss out on if I were you. Whether you're a racing fan or just a fan of cars in general, maybe you're only an F1 fan, there are so many reasons that you should add this one to your collection. I would say get both Decos, honestly, but this is just an absolutely amazing release, one that you will be sorry if you don't pick up. And with that, that is all I have for this review, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and leave a comment telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model, and I will see you in the next video.